Krishna Bhaktaya, Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. No, they will not see you, no? She will sit there. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapatagavanam Sri Guru Vaishnava Sri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishagandvidam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpade Gopesha Govika Ganta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchara Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshari Vishavano Sade Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're reading from Javidharma, 13th chapter. Praman, the commencement of Pramay. So just to recap. So Praman means the evidence. So Amnaya, so the first slok is there. We'll read it again because it is a very important verse. Of the Dasamula Tattva. Amnaya Prahatatvam Harim Iha Paramam Sarva Shaktim Rasabtim Tadbinam Chamshams Chajivam Prakriti Kvalitam Tadvimuktam Chabhavet Veda Veda Prakasham Sakalam Api Hare Saranam Shuddha Bhaktim Sadhyam Tadpritim Eviti Upadishati Janan Gora Chandra Swayam Saha. So Praman, the evidence. So the teachings of the Vedas received through the Guru Parampara. So they are known as Amnaya. And so this Praman, this evidence establishing the different kinds of Prameya, fundamental truth. So Param Tattva, that's Sri Hari, Sri Krishna alone is the supreme absolute truth. Second, Sarva Shaktiman, Sri Krishna is the possessor of all potency, Rasavidim. So Akila Rasamrita Sindhu is the ocean of transcendental mellows. And then Vibhinangsha Tattva, the two kinds of jivas are there, liberated, mukta, and baddha, conditioned. So the mukta jivas, Nityasila Parikara, are always engaged in the service of the Lord. But the jivas are conditioned. Anadikal, since time immemorial, Nityabadha. They come in this world, and by the mercy of Guru and Garanga, they may understand their position and also become liberated. And the absolute truth is also known as Achinta Veda Veda Tattva. Simultaneous one and difference from the Lord is there. And so the process to achieve perfection, so Achinta Veda Veda Tattva, that Everything is emanating from Krishna. Different incarnations are there. Different personalities of Godhead. So they are not different from Krishna, at the same time they are different also. So Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the material world, the spiritual world first of all, and the material world are also not different from Krishna, different from Krishna. The eternal world, the spiritual world is ever existing. The material world is temporary. It is sometimes coming in existence and then sometimes it is not manifest. And then for the jivas who are conditioned, the process to attain perfection is Shuddha Bhakti, pure love, pure devotional service. So the process is known as Sadhana Bhakti. And then in order to attain perfection, sadhya, one has to develop one's love for Krishna, Krishna Prem or Krishna Priti. So that is being discussed here. So Brajanath is asking questions, and Raghunath Das, Babaji Maharaj, disciple of Raghunath Das Goswami, is answering. So he was quoting the first shloka. So the introductory, the Mangalacharan verse is the one we just recited, the essential shloka. And then the first shloka is there, that we have also read, but we'll just quickly go over the actual verse. The self-evident Vedas which have been received in the Sampradaya through the Guru Parampara by recipients of Sri Hari's mercy such as Brahmaji and others are known as Amnai Vakya. The 9 Prameya Tattvas are established by these Amnai Vakyas with the help of other Pramanas that follow the guidance of these Shastras such as evidence obtained by direct sense perception, Pratyaksha. Reasoning that is only based on logic is always lame in the matter of evaluating inconceivable subject matters, since logic and argument have no access in the realm of the inconceivable. So Brajanath is asking questions in this regard, and Babaji has been answering. Acha, here. Okay, fine, I was wondering. So then Babaji was explaining. So the Brahmaji was the first person to appear in this world, and so as we know, beginning of creation, he heard the word tapa, and then he received Brahma Gayatri and Gopal Mantra from Krishna himself, and then respectively also Divya Saraswati spoke the Gopal Mantra. And so then, so he realized his position, and then he was inspired to create. Of course, as a secondary creator, the elements are all there and supplied by the Supreme Lord, and by His will. This world is manifested by Krishna's will. And Shiva and Durga Devi, of course, after Mahavishnu, also they're helping in the process of creation. And then, so Brahmaji is then executing. And then, so he's also giving transcendental knowledge, and he's the Adiguru in our Sampradaya. So that it is mentioned in the beginning, he instructed his eldest son, Atharva, Brahma Vidya. So Brahmavedya is the knowledge that reveals the true Swarup of Parabrahma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then further, so Brajanath is asking question. If the rishis, if they gave the correct explanation of the Vedas in the scriptures, in Smriti, the Shruti and Smriti, Shruti is the original Veda, and then Smriti are and the Srimad Bhagavatam and other literatures, the 18 Puranas and so on. And Veda is no different from the Supreme Lord. Of course, then ultimately, the Smriti Shastras given by the sages, they also practically are not different from the Lord. And even later on, appearance of Mahaprabhu is there, and he instructed his disciples, so that is also the absolute truth and what they, of the highest conception, the essence of the absolute truth, he has given to Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and therefore the Acharyas, Jiva Goswami has also explained in the first verse of the Bhagavatam, the commentary, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye, Janmadi Yasya, the first verse of Bhagavatam, that so that knowledge was imparted to Brahma by the Supreme Lord, and that is indicated, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye, this Brahma Vidya was imparted to Adi Kavaye, the original poet, that is Lord Brahma. And so Krishna spoke to Brahma first and gave this transcendental knowledge. But then Jiva Goswami is explained and is purport to this verse, also in the Sandarbhas. And so he explained that Tene Brahma Hrida Ya Adikavi. So that refers to Mahaprabhu also, who gave this transcendental knowledge to Rupa Goswami. So the knowledge given to Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das and Sanatana Goswami is the absolute truth, the highest aspect of the absolute truth, and the process is there, Sambandha Videya Prayojan, perfect and complete, to come to the highest understanding of the absolute truth, Braj Bhakti, and specifically then also Parakya Bhav. So Babaji is answering that by the influence of time, so it's quoting from the Bhagavatam in regards to the Smriti Shastras. By the influence of time, the Vedas containing my instructions on Bhagavad Dhamma were lost when the cosmic devastation occurred. At the beginning of the next Brahma Kalpa, at the time of creation, I again instructed Brahma in that same Veda. Brahma instructed his son Manu in the Vedic knowledge, and Manu in turn instructed the science to the 7 Brahma Rishis headed by Bhrigu. So, in due course of time, as also Krishna is explaining in the Bhagavad Gita, that he spoke to the sun, and then to also to Ikshvaku and so on. So that has been explained, but then the science was lost, and then he spoke it again. So sometimes the knowledge gets lost not of course originally lost, but in the disciplic succession there's some temporary break there. But then the Lord, in empowered incarnation, may come and then again give this knowledge. And in this way the Sampradaya is continued. So Brajanath is then saying also that what is the necessity for a Sampradaya? And the Babaji was explaining that actually this we also read. Yes, then he was explaining that in this world, Babaji was saying that most people in the world accept the Mayavad philosophy. So unfortunately, and even they have a Sampradaya, the Mayavadi Sampradaya. So therefore there's a need of Sampradaya there, but to give Shuddha Bhakti, which is free from the fault of Mayavad. And therefore actually it is mentioned in the Puranas also, especially for the age of Kali, that Sampradaya vina yamantantes nisvala te vipalamata Sri Brahma Rudra Sanaka Vaishnava Kshiti Pavanaha. So that is from Padma Purana. So that the four Sampradayas are there, actually since almost time immemorial. Krishna speaking to Brahma and then this. But in the age of Kali, then the four Vaishnav Acharyas appeared, Madhvacharya, Ramanuja, Nimbarka, and Vishnu Swami. So this parampara, this knowledge is received, and one has to receive a knowledge from one of these sampradayas. So we in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, in which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared also. So that is absolutely required. The Acharya must be in the Sampradaya, and then we can get this perfect knowledge. Then Brajanath was asking about if all the names are mentioned of the Acharyas in the Sampradaya. Then Babaji was explaining that only the most prominent Acharyas have been mentioned. So we read up to there. Brajanath, I would like to hear the Guru Parampara of the Brahma Sampradaya. Babaji, listen. Paravyomeshwaran Paravyomeshwarasya Sitcha Chishyo Brahma Jagatpati Tasya Shishyo Narada Buddh Vyasas Tasya Pashishyadam. Brahma, the master of the universe, is the disciple of Parameshwar Sri Narayan, and Naraji became the disciple of Brahma. Vyasadev became the disciple of Naraji. Shuko Vyasyasya Shishyatam Prapto Jnanavaro Dhanat Vyasa Nabdo Krishna Diksho Madhvacharya Mahayashaha. Shishugire became the disciple of Sri Vyasadev in order to check the spread of impersonal Gyan. The celebrated Madhvacharya also received Krishna Diksha from Sri Vyasadev. Narahari became the twice-born Shishya of Madhvacharya. So here it is explained that Brahma is the disciple of Narayan, which is there also, of course. And as we know, he appeared for the lotus navel of Garbhadakshayi Vishnu, from the flower, lotus flower which emanated from the lotus navel of Garbhadakshayi Vishnu. But then of course we hear that So in this way, and it is understood that it is not just like nowadays a formal initiation is there, and it's a sacrifice. No, but it is the transcendental arrangement and transcendental sound vibration is given and received. And it is also mentioned that Krishna, so he played the flute, and then as he played the flute, the Gayatri mantra emanated from his flute and entered the ear holes of Lord Brahma. So special initiation. So this way Lord Brahma is most fortunate jiva who got this transcendental knowledge and of course transcendental way, mystical way. And then he gave this knowledge to Narada Muni, who's also his son, and then so Vyasadeva became the disciple of Narad. So they all, especially empowered personalities, Shakti-Avesh avatar, no ordinary being, even Narada Muni we know. So it's known, most well known, saintly personality, pure devotee of the Lord, eternal associate, who is there in his original form in Braj as a gopi, Naradiya gopi. But then he's coming as Narada Muni in this world. And then in his expanded form he became the son of a maidservant, and then he also had the fortune of serving the Bhaktivedantas, as Prabhupada is mentioned in the Bhagavatam. And then he, by their mercy, so to say, that is a pastime, he gained perfection. So, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained 3 kinds of Uttam Vaishnav. Bhagavad Siddhadeha Prapt, and then Niyadu Kasai and Muchi Kasai. So Narada Muni is the example of course, the Nitya Siddha, is it eternal associate, but at the same time in expanded form that is mentioned then is also mentioned as Sadhana Siddha. So in expanded form. So we have to accept the scriptures and which are presented by the acharyas, and we accept the words of the acharyas, although many times it is beyond our comprehension. And even by performing bhajan, so we know something little about Krishna and Krishna's pastimes and these great personalities, like in Gaulila, as we know. So Rupa Damodar is their most confidential associate of Mahaprabhu, is Lalita Devi and Krishna Lila. And Rai Ramananda Roy is a combination of, so first of all Vishaka Devi, and then also Arjuniya Gopi and Arjun Saka, and then 2 Arjun actually. Arjuniya Gopi, which are the one personality, Arjun, who is in Dwarka, the friend of Krishna, and then Arjun Saka and Braj, who is also a confidential friend of Krishna, and Arjuniya Gopi. So different forms of one personality, so to say. Achintya, Adbhut, inconceivable. And they're all there in Gadadhar, in Rai Ramananda Roy, Vishaka and Arjuniya Gopi, Arjun Saka, both from Krishna Leela and in Braj and in Dwarka. So we hear and we have full faith, and then we can have some realization. And we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And we must engage in some practical, sincere seva. And then we can realize, simply by hearing, we cannot understand much. But by chanting, by bhajan, so then we can have a little more realization. But still, we can never completely understand Krishna and fully, to the fullest extent. But it's enough to realize, and that is perfection, to see practical realization of Krishna's transcendental form. Krishna Sakshatkar, direct experience of Krishna, and Atma Sakshatkar, experience of ourself, and then in our transcendental form and relationship with Krishna. So that is perfection. And if you realize that, then we are good. We may not understand all the details and how much we can remember. Of course, then Krishna will give knowledge also. And then different capacities are there of the different jivas. Some are more empowered than others. Like we may never be like Rupa Goswami, it's impossible. Such a genius and empowered. And so even as sadhakas, so the siddhas, they have pure love for Krishna, but the sadhakas, they can come to bhav, premankur, and they can realize Krishna Sarup, but the prem is not to that extent as the eternal association. But if you attain that stage, then that is the perfection. So Narada Muni became the spiritual master of Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is an incarnation of the Lord also. So even the Lord himself is coming in this world and then taking shelter of the spiritual master to set the example. Like Krishna, Mantavanti Purujain, and of course, in mantra also. So for 9 samskara was there. Just for the purpose of teaching the common man that one should take initiation from a bona fide spiritual master. And what happened? So Guru Parampara is there. So the spiritual master giving knowledge to the disciple, and so Sadhguru, Sad means is bona fide, in English translated sometimes, bona fide guru. Sad means is transcendently situated, completely free from modes of material nature, and then those who become qualified disciples, fully qualified, and they are known as Sat Shishya, and they may become Sadguru also, then when they are fully qualified and realize their Swarup and Krishna Swarup, and then they can give this knowledge to so many devotees also. And so this way this knowledge is handed down. So the celebrated Madhavacharya also received Krishna Diksha from Vyasadeva. So there is a gap, if we see. Madhavacharya came much later in this world. And as mentioned before, not all the acharyas are mentioned after Vyasadeva. Or there were many other acharyas may be there. Just like he had 4 disciples, Vaishapayana, Sumanta Paila, and Jaimini, and then others interested. So or gave knowledge to others also. And so the disciples were there, but Madhvacharya, so who were there at his time. But then he went to the Himalayas, and then practically nobody could see him anymore. Vyasadeva disappeared from the vision of ordinary persons. But then Madhvacharya, the powerful Acharya from Udupi, time to go to Udupi also. Yeah, we're planning, let's see. So then he went to the Himalayas. And so, a powerful Acharya. And he had incredible strength. Acharya Brahman, but incredible strength. He liked bananas. Like Mahaprabhu. Of course, Mahaprabhu came later. I like bananas too. And then, so it is mentioned one time that he ate 1,000 bananas in one sitting. Jai. One time I went for preaching. I went to South India actually, and with the train also. And there was strict brahmachari. Not taking anything from outside. I just ate bananas, 25 bananas. That was, yeah, in one day. That's all I ate. So,
question.
huh? Yeah, question.
This is mentioned that the Madhvacharya was a disciple of Vyasadeva.
Madhvacharya was a disciple of Vyasadeva, yes. At the same time, of course, he had a cool guru also, so to say.
Yeah.
Achyut Preksha, I think. Yeah, Achyut Preksha was
What
his
about
name.
Shukadeva Goswami?
Shukadeva Goswami,
Because he also
he's
is
the son
disciple also disciple of Vyasadeva.
yeah,
So
son of
in-
Vyasadeva also.
yeah, but he's also disciple.
Yeah.
So, but how come his name is not mentioned? Is mentioning after Vyasadeva Madhavendra Puri. So where is the
Yeah.
Shukadeva Goswami?
And Shukadeva Goswami has his own line.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not mentioned in our line somehow. Although we have the greatest respect for him also. Actually, some say there are two
But it's-
Shukas. One is
but-
Shukadeva Goswami, who just left home and then instructed Parikshit. And there was then, it is mentioned as he left, and because he was calling, Ha Putra, my son, please come back. So it is mentioned in one place that actually then he expanded himself, and then there's one, so Shukadeva Goswami who went back home, Shukadev. And then even he was married, and then even, so he had his children, and of course he also became exalted, and then there's even from that, there's a line of great personalities there. But even from the family line, even in Vrindavan still, some are there. In that line of that Shukadev, who was then a householder. So, yeah, so sometimes,
There is one song, our Parampara song.
yeah.
Shukadeva Goswami is not mentioned in there.
And no, in the song, I don't think so. It's there, Shukadev. And Gurgi Tuguchi is there. It's not there. No, Shukadev is not there. No. Vyasa and I believe Madhvacharya and others are there. And it's mentioned here also. And but there's a song there compiled by I believe it was Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. So there it is mentioned, the Guru Parampara, which many Gauri Vaishnavas are singing sometimes.
After Vyas, it's Madhvacharya.
Yes, so there also it is mentioned after Vyas is Madhvacharya. So but there's a long gap of many years, but because he was empowered, so he went to the Himalayas, and yes, so he had many bananas one time. On the way also, actually one person was there, was very strong physically. And like Digvijay of the scholars, also Digvijay of strong persons were there. So he wanted to kind of challenge him. And so he put his foot down and told him, okay, you try to lift up my big toe. And he could not do it. So extremely powerful. And even one time some dacoits attacked him and some disciples were with him. But he just defeated them by his bodily, physical strength. So extremely strong physically also. And he went to the Himalayas, up to Badrinath. But then after he went further on, but he told his disciples and followers, you just stay there. You cannot go more up. And he went alone. And then he met Shukadev Goswami. He met Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva gave him transcendental knowledge. So very wonderful descriptions are there about these great personalities. So we are just completely insignificant. So, and then Narahari became the twice-born Shishya of Madhvacharya. And then Tasya Shishya Narahari Shishya Madhavadvija Akshobhyas Tasya Shishya Bhut Shishya Jayate Takaha. So Madhavadvija became the disciple of Narahari. So Madhvacharya was there, and then Narahari, and then his disciple was Madhavadvija. And then Akshobhya was Madhavadvija's disciple and accepted Jayatita as his disciple. Tasya Shishya Jnana Sindhus Tasya Shishya Mahanidhi Vidyanidhis Tasya Shishya Rajendras Tasya Sevakaha. Jnana became the disciple of Jayatita. Mahanidhi became Jnana disciple and accepted Vidyanidhi as his disciple. Jnana Sindhu. And Rajendra became the disciple of Vidyanidhi. Jayadharma Munis Tasya Shishyas Yadgana Madhyataha Srimad Vishnupuri Yastu Bhakti Ratnavali Kritihi. Jayadharma Muni became the disciple of Rajendra, and one of his followers named Sri Vishnupuri, who composed Bhakti Ratnavali, was a prominent acharya. Jaya Dharmasya Shishya Bhut Brahmanya Purushottamaha Vyasatyatas Tasya Shishya Yaschakra Vishnu Samhitam. Jayadharma's disciple was Brahmanya Purushottam, who in turn accepted Vyasatirtha, the author of Vishnu Samhita, as his disciple. Srimal Lakshmi Patistasya Shishya Bhakti Rasashrayaha Tatsa Shishya Madhavendra Yadharma Ayam Pravartitaha. Sri Lakshmi Pati became the disciple of Vyastirtha, and Madhavendra Puri, who was the epitome of Bhakti Ras and who propagated Bhakti Dharma, was the disciple of Lakshmi Pati. So that is our disciplic succession. And as we know, after Madhavendra Puri came Ishvara Puri, and who became the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And others were also disciples of Madhavendra Puri, not only Ishvara Puri. Prajanath, in the first sloka of Dashamula, the Vedas are accepted as the sole evidence, Praman, whereas the other Pramans, such as Pratyaksha, direct perception, are accepted as evidence only when they follow the Vedas. So the primary evidence is Praman. But another So Praman, so direct perception. So it has to be according to the Vedas also. If it is not according to the Vedas, it is not to be accepted. Also we say Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. So the spiritual master, he will give this transcendental knowledge, and he has direct perception also, direct realization. So, but then, so realization was be supported by the scriptures. And so sadhu is also explained, means, sadhu means the previous acharyas. And this way also you can see the parampara has to be there. And disciplic succession. So the knowledge is handed down in disciplic succession. So guru and then sadhus, the previous acharyas. Of course, sadhus may be also contemporary acharyas. And so the different acharyas may be there from different sampradayas. But they will all, so the different acharyas, they have their sampradaya, and they all are speaking according to Shastra, the Vedas, or the Smriti Shastra. However, philosophies such as Nyaya and Sankhya have accepted further types of evidence. Well-versed readers of the Puranas have accepted 8 types of Praman. So 8 types of evidence. Pratyaksha, direct perception, that has been explained. And then Anuman, inference based on generalized experience. Upaman, analogy, example. Shabda, revealed knowledge, and of course the Vedic literatures, that is Shabda Brahman. And then Aitiya, traditional instructions. So sometimes you hear some things from tradition. So like many times in the villages, they have some sayings are there. Grandfather told something who heard from his father, and then it is given down, this knowledge. In one place it is explained also as Tela Shastra, by the tradition, which is approved by the acharyas, which has been received by great personalities. Arthapati, inference from circumstances. Sambhav, speculation. And Anupalabdhi, understanding something by its own perception. Okay, so let's see if we'll explain all of these. Yeah, we have to read again, otherwise we forget. Why are there so many opinions regarding Praman? And if direct perception and inference based on experience are not counted among the perfect Brahmanas, how is it possible to get real understanding? Kindly enlighten me. Babaji, Pratyaksha and other types of evidence depend on the senses. But since the senses of the conditioned jiva are always subject to Brahma, illusion, Brahm, illusion, Pramad, error, Vipralipsa, cheating, Karanapatava, imperfection of the senses. How can the knowledge acquired through the senses be factual and faultless? The full independent possessor of all potencies, Sri Bhagavan himself, personally manifested as perfect knowledge within the pure hearts of great Maharishis and saintly Acharyas who were situated in full Samadhi. So the full independent possessor of all potencies, Sri Bhagavan himself, personally manifested as perfect Vedic knowledge within the pure hearts of great Maharishis and saintly Acharyas who were situated in full Samadhi. Therefore the Vedas, which are the embodiment of Swatta Siddha Gyan, self-manifest pure knowledge, are always faultless and fully dependable as evidence. Prajanath, please help me to understand clearly each of the terms, Brahma, Pramada, Vipralipsa and Karanapata. Let me see. Okay. So Babaji, Brahma illusion is the Vadajiva's false impression of Brahma. Is the Vadajiva's false impression of reality resulting from faulty knowledge gathered through imperfect senses. Okay. For example, in the desert, the rays of the sun sometimes produce a mirage which creates the impression of water. This fault of making errors and mistakes is called pramad. So if one is on the modes of material nature, then so Brahma is there, illusion is there. And then pramad. So then making errors will be there. That is, one is almost bound to make some mistake. One is on the modes of material nature. Since the material intelligence of the Vadajiva is by nature limited, mistakes are inevitably present in whatever Siddhanta his limited intelligence discerns in relation to the unlimited Paratattva. Vipralipsa is a cheating propensity. This is manifest when one whose intelligence is limited by time and space is suspicious and reluctant to believe in the activities of and authority of Ishvara, who is far beyond time and space. So Vadajiva has a material intelligence, and by the material intelligence one can never realize the absolute truth, who is beyond this material world. So only with spiritual intelligence one can understand to some extent the Supreme Lord. But one has to be engaged in spiritual activities. So, but of course one part is studying the scriptures or hearing from the realized souls. But usually some activity has to be performed. Some spiritual activity, devotional activity, ultimately devotional activity has to be performed. So, and then the conditioned soul, on the modes of material nature, has some cheating propensity that you can also only overcome when you are on the transcendental plane, otherwise you may be there. So we have to be aware of that. And even as a devotee also, and these things are still there. If one is a sadhaka, practicing devotee, and one is not realized, then still Brahma is there, some illusion is there. Pramadi errors are being also made, and even cheating propensity may be there. As for the devotees who are not yet mature or advanced, so that we know also, that we have seen. So even in spiritual organizations it is there, it is seen. So, but we personally have to try to be properly situated and become free from these propensities. But so we have to be enthusiastic, one has to be fixed, and one has to be patient with oneself also. And always engage in spiritual activities and avoid unwanted materialistic persons, unwanted association, materialistic person. And be in the association of saintly devotees. So this is manifest when one whose intelligence is limited by time and space is suspicious and reluctant to believe in the activities and authority of Vishwar, who is far beyond time and space. Our senses are imperfect and ineffective, and this is known as Karanapatava. Because of this, we cannot avoid making mistakes in everyday circumstances. For example, when we see an object, we may mistake it for something else and draw a faulty conclusion. So that is common. Prajna, do pratyaksha and other pramans have no value at all as evidence? Babaji, what means do we have to gain knowledge of this material sphere except through direct perception and other pramanas? Nonetheless, they can never give knowledge about the spiritual world, Chit Jagat, for they cannot enter into it. So, that is why the Vedas are certainly the one and only praman for gaining knowledge about the Chit Jagat. So through direct perception, and so we cannot get complete knowledge of the spiritual realm. So ultimately most reliable and, as mentioned, the only praman for gaining knowledge about the Chit Jagat are the Vedas, or of course Smriti, given by empowered acharyas, which of course ultimately is not different from the Vedas. But sometimes, so of course, as Mahaprabhu gave the knowledge to his associates, so that is the essence of all Vedic knowledge and the most sublime and exalted transcendental knowledge. The evidence gained from pratyaksha and other pramanas is only worth considering when it follows the guidelines of the self-evident Vedic knowledge. Otherwise its evidence can be discarded. That is why the self-evident Vedas are the only evidence. Pratyaksha and other pramanas can also be accepted as evidence, but only if they are in pursuance of the Vedas. So most important Praman evidence are the Vedic literatures. So we should stop here because it is 8:15 and here in GV, so everything is ending a little early. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
You know Vishnu Priya?
Which one?
The one makes garments and making jewelry. Yeah.
Oh,